Let's read some customer reviews. We had some good ones. And this is telling about how they feel about the Cellerciser. This is from Krista. She says, about a year and a half ago, I bought a much less expensive rebounder based on the very large jump surface. I'm just a disabled vet with a head injury and a total hip replacement. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries since I took a fall under a 70-pound pack and jammed the sight post of my weapon into my bicep, causing a fracture and severe hip damage. Since then, my balance has been off, my lower back messed up, and forever out of alignment. And when I work on my arms, biceps, the pain in the area of the fracture was too painful to have consistency. So low impact exercise is super important for me. So I thought I would give rebounding a try, and I am hooked. I was worried about the instability that would cause me to fall even with the balance bar. I used the other platform for over a year faithfully, and it did help my balance a little bit, but I noticed that it did not help my alignment, and I stopped making improvements. I felt that I no longer needed the larger jump surface, and in fact was irritated with the extra room that it took up, and did notice some pronating, so I took the plunge and purchased the trifold. I love it, all capitalized exclamation points. In the 2 months that I've had it, I've noticed my balance get even better, and the strength and alignment of my lower back improved. I use 1-pound weights and have noticed that I no longer have pain in my bicep after I do extended arm curls while bouncing. That alone has blown my mind. I try to use my Cellerciser a minimum of 4 times a week and usually Cellercise for 45 minutes. My goal is to use it every day and to alternate in short 15-minute programs with my long program. I love Cellercising and look forward to seeing other improvements, hopefully to cellulite, muscle tone, and strength and overall health. My mother is 82 and a polio survivor. In March, I have a trip planned to visit her in Arizona. I'm going to take my Cellerciser with me, not only to use it, but also to see if she can tolerate just doing the health bounce. That's the #1 most important physical activity I think everybody needs. I'd like to see if this will help her post-polio syndrome, weight and balance before I purchase one for her. That was super long, but I want to thank you for such a wonderful product. I think you need to find a way to get this into the VA medical centers, and we have worked with veterans hospitals and the VA center in Maryland and some other areas of the country. It would be a wonderful therapy for veterans and various disabilities. Thank you again, Krista. Thank you, Krista, for sharing that. Okay, since we're dealing with heart, I thought I'd take a few of our good customer reviews on the heart. I've been using the Cellerciser for 3 years. It is truly a wonderful invention. By using the Cellerciser, I've greatly improved my cardiovascular function and overall physical health. I only work out 8 to 10 minutes each morning. I highly recommend this form of exercise for anyone interested in improving their health. And thank you, Bill. This one's from Karen. Karen writes, March of last year, I had a pacemaker and a deep fib because my heart was only opening at 20%. Operating at 20%. I slowly was able to use a trampoline with health bounce only. My last echo came back and they wanted to up the pacemaker, but with doing 5 minutes 3 times a day, I was able to get my heart strong enough that they didn't have to up the pacemaker, and I got an extra year out of the pacemaker before they changed the battery. There is a lot more to my story that I will share at a short time. I look forward to it, Karen. The baby bounce has given me the health results that I want. I'm so happy, and my doctor is ecstatic. He tells me that talking to me now is like talking to a whole different woman. I only wish that I had known about Cellerciser before, and maybe I wouldn't have had to have a pacemaker at all. Karen. Thank you, Karen. And we, excuse me, and we do know that the moving up and down on the Cellerciser makes it easier on the heart as it pumps with the heart. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. A valve in my, okay, this is Camille. I love this customer review because one of the things that I've been talking about for years is in the tests that we often did with people, we would take a blood sample and we look at it underneath the microscope, and we often saw that the blood cells were sticky. And when they were sticky, they weren't separated. They were kind of clumped together, and some of the cells that actually looked like they had lost fluid, and so they were more elongated. They were separated from oxygen and nutrients and circulation. And so that it's harder for the heart to pump sticky blood cells through the capillaries in different parts of the body. But when the cells are separated, oxygenated, and energized, they're going to circulate better. Now, with that in mind, let me read this one. This is Camille. She says, a heart in my valve went bad and I was seeing a cardiologist. I had to have several tests done as the valve worsened. A nuclear test was performed and I was at 52%. I was so weak and achy. It was very hard to do my job at UPS unloading trucks and working. But one day a gentleman picked up a package and inspected it at my office. The box had been damaged, and so they checked to make sure it wasn't, that the unit, which is built like a tank, was okay, and it was. But while they were inspecting it, she had a chance to read about it. And it was one of your units. I was so impressed that I got one too. I jumped to save my life. And I certainly did not want open heart surgery to replace my valve. Didn't have time for that. I am blessed and happy to say, after jumping for several months, another nuclear test was performed. I was at 70%, all capitalized exclamation points. My cardiologist asked what I was doing. Jumping on your trampoline was the only thing I was doing differently. She said 70 was the low end of normal range and I didn't need surgery anymore. I have continued to bounce because if I stop, remember sticky blood cells? If I stop, I do find my heart weakens again, along with several other symptoms of poor circulation. So I bounce to keep my heart strong and my feet pain-free. I continue to work at UPS. I've gotten a second job too. People are always commenting on my spirit, energy, and youthfulness. I'm 52 but look younger. I'm so very grateful to God for directing me to your rebounder and for you and for his leading you to do what you have done. I know you were sick for a while and that illness prompted you to begin your journey with rebounding. He truly does use everything together for good. I tell everyone I can about rebounding and you and your Cellerciser. Again, thank you so much, all capitalized. Thank you, Camille. Now, she mentioned after she wasn't Cellercising, if the blood cells were getting sticky again, a lot of it has to do with diet, that if that was happening, that could have been a factor in her putting more stress or strain on her heart, making it more difficult to get that circulation through the body. What is interesting is when we move up and down on the Cellerciser in about 3 to 5 minutes, we've retested the blood, and since the blood cells themselves have a sodium-potassium pump, they're positive and negatively charged like a battery, they generate a field of energy, which you can see under Carillion photography, which we also did. And when the cells generated a field of energy around the outside of the cell membrane, it repelled the cells from each other. While the movement up and down helped to feed more circulation or fluid to the cell membrane or through the cell membranes of the blood cells themselves, imbibing them with more fluid. So instead of being deflated or elongated, they literally increased in that fluid. Now they were separated, oxygenated, energized, and literally in an entirely different state. So that movement up and down now moves the individual blood cells back to the capillaries, to the eyes, to the ears, and other extremities and parts of the body. So I think it's extremely important for the overall heart, I believe. We get on the Cellerciser every day to get rid of the stress, the tension, open up circulation, back flush the valves. The moving up and down is like an internal scrub brush, so it can help clear out blockages. If you're prone to blood clots, always work with your doctor. In fact, none of this is construed as medical advice. This is just what we have found. And if you have a medical condition, again, it is important. Consult with your doctor. In consulting with your doctor, tell them about Cellercise. That's how we're spreading. We're bringing more doctors involved. And in fact, I had another one call me up yesterday, and I just filed a form that I need to turn back into his school. He's an athletic sports trainer, therapist, and he wants to use this for his therapy practice. And there's several different movements we can do on a Cellerciser that address different areas of the body. And I appreciate him and his support. Okay. I began rebounding in the last century with a series of hand-me-down mini trampolines and garage sale finds. And when the last of the 3 or 4 different ones wore out, I decided to get the best on the market, a Cellerciser. That was around 10 years ago, and I never have regretted it for a minute. At this point, I wouldn't waste time or energy looking at other brands. One of the things I like most about the Cellerciser is how sturdy and flat the mat stays. On inferior brands, the mat sinks slow when your foot hits it, causing the foot or ankle to roll inward. But on the Cellerciser, your feet all have the support they need to maintain the proper placement, and thus keep your ankles, knees, and hips in correct alignment as well. I use my Cellerciser outside as the sun rises in the mornings, and I never fail to celebrate the moment when a few minutes of bouncing, a fog behind my eyes lifts, and I feel as if I have come up from underwater. I see better, hear better, my mind is clear, it feels like I've shaken off the night. And at that point, I may or may not go ahead to do the cardio routine for 20 minutes or more. And that's exactly what I think is a perfect approach to Cellercise. If you can only do 2 to 3 minutes, great. I think you've warmed up the tissue of the body. You've helped the circulation move through the one-way valves. You've activated the lymphatic system. You've stimulated the thyroid, the adrenals, the endocrine system. The entire body is a wake-up call, I believe, in the morning. And after that, you're in a different state. And very often, if you're playing on it and having fun, you just keep going. But the Cellerciser has already prepared me for the day. My Cellerciser has become the single most transformative item of exercise equipment that I own, surpassing even my bicycle and my free weights. What else can so dramatically change my body and my mind in as few as 5 minutes, rarely more than 7? A big secret you should know is that if you want to improve the appearance of the back pockets of your favorite jeans, David Hall's Jamba Run is virtually guaranteed to turn heads and inspire compliments in a remarkably short amount of time. One of my favorite things about the Jamba Run is that you can feel various small and large areas of your body vibrating while you do it. And you know those places are on their way to looking better soon. Also, Cellercise is an American company with a record of quality and integrity. There's a kind of satisfaction you get from doing business with people you trust, people whose names you know, people who are proud of their product and committed to providing the best customer service experience possible. If you're considering purchasing a rebounder, you just can't go with the Cellerciser. It's a phenomenal tool for improving your health and overall well-being. It's a company that sincerely wants you to grow healthier and happier while using your product. You can't get that anywhere else. Thank you, David. Again, the whole point of tonight, we're going to share techniques. The whole point is to help you. I want you to get results. I want you to feel good, feel better, perform better, and have the information that you can share with others so that they can do and experience the same thing. Mark Brown writes, 3 years ago, I could barely walk, for my feet were in such pain. Now I'm walking at work. I work in a hospital about 6 miles a day, pushing beds, stretchers, and wheelchairs all day and jumping about 15 minutes after I get home for its massage for the body after work with no pain. Muscles are sore, but feeling good, and I'm 65 years old. I love my Cellercise and promote it to the patients where I work. It basically saved my life. Okay, we've got a lot more customer reviews, but